force of your bond. A power like light itself, unseen for generations. A dyad in the force.
Yo, yo, yo! Welcome to another episode of Dyad in the Force, episode 280. It's a big milestone for us. I don't know exactly how long we've been doing this, but we've been doing this for a long time now.
Heck yeah!
How's it going, Choco?
It's going. I'm excited. I am hiding from the internet for fear of Spider-Man spoilers.
This is true. I forgot it came out this weekend.
I'm gonna be real. I'm debating whether or not I even want to open up the chat.
I mean, we gotta exercise a little bit of vigilance here, you know. We'll just have to, you know, be extra careful, I suppose. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna have time this weekend to actually watch it. Though, I mean, I might find some time after our Daggerheart or Starheart actual play tomorrow at 6 p.m. We'll see if I have time after that. Don't forget to mark your calendars and tune in for that. That'll be our first episode. So we're out of all of the preparation. We're out of session 0 and we're starting the campaign tomorrow. So join us there. I'll post a link on the community tab for everyone, for all the monsters to join up.
What's your favorite thing about the character that you've cooked up? Anything you want to share?
My favorite thing about my character is something I don't want to share. It's one of those things where it needs that organic reveal.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But
well, fine.
I like what we've cooked up for a Jedi, especially for a Jedi in that Old Republic era.
Okay.
Some more housekeeping. Next week we will be gone. We'll be at Rebel Scum Con. We will be taking part in skywalking through the Neverland Force feud with a bunch of other creators, including Alex and Molly, the Force of Others podcast, and a few others. You can check my repost on Instagram if you want to check that out. Pinned in the chat is a link that you can click on to take a survey that will help shape whatever surveys says during that Force feud. So if monsters in the chat want to participate, click on the
please do. Listen, you guys know so much more than the average fan that we will lose this because it's skewed. It's skewed by
That's
how
true.
Good you guys are. You've ruined us.
How many people,
and vice versa,
like, who can defeat Sidious? All right, and then we're like, well, that's obvious, but then its survey says, right? So there's a bunch of people that might, I don't know, put other characters up there that just either is wrong or it doesn't make sense, and that's not to say
or needs context.
Yeah,
I feel like there's going to be a lot that needs context.
Also, don't mind me. I need an ice cream bar.
So it's hot out here in California. I mean, honestly, it's not unbearable, but what I need people in the hot states to understand is that there's a lot of places like where I live. I'm in San Diego. A lot of the places out here don't have AC or anything like that. Definitely not centralized, right? And it's because the climate is normally good enough that you don't need it. But that means when you need it, you need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I got friends in Nevada, and if you go outside, it's like you're cooking like bacon. But every house is ice cold because they have central AC, because they know you will die if you don't have it. We don't have that luck.
Yeah. So, guys, if you want to participate in that Force feud, click on the link in the pinned description and take that survey. It would also be cool to know that you guys participated. Let's see. And then also, of course, that same Saturday, after Force Feud in the same panel, Room B, we will be doing our Balance in the Force Masterclass panel. Now, why is this still relevant? Well, I just saw... I was just tagged in Mesa Windu's latest Balance in the Force video. And a lot of credit to Josh. It is 95% there. There is a conflation between the dark side and darkness. And he calls the dark side a part of the Force. But, you know, as we've established through numerous citations and numerous examples in Star Wars, the dark side is unnatural, right? The only natural thing about what's inside of us is our inner darkness. So, I mean, like I said, Mesa Windu's video is pretty much 95% correct. But therein lies the necessity for another masterclass. Alex Leslie says, I am always surprised to learn that folks have normal names like Josh on some level. I fully think his name is Mace.
My favorite one is I can't even remember. Freddy's roommate. A lot of people meet him and they call him Freddy. Freddy's his dog. He's his dog's roommate, you know? So his name's Justin.
That's true.
And what's interesting is when you're mutuals, it shows you their name. So now, well, at least at that point in time, I forgot that different people even have usernames, because I only see, I've only seen their regular name for years. Sometimes we'll change it or whatever.
I suppose that's right. So we'll be participating with Star Wars Explained in Force Feud, not Alex and Molly.
You said Alex and Molly. Yeah.
Let's see. Like, you were born Darth Choco. What else would it be? I mean, sometimes, you know what? Sometimes I'd be calling him Choco more than I call him Brandon.
You know what sucks about the name Brandon? I feel like as a name, it's the most effort to say with the least amount of syllables.
Yeah. And I also feel like I would offend you if I just started calling you B.
No. No. I just have like a lot of friends who are like, at work it's like Peter. I just call him Pete. And I'm like, man, I wish I had something like Brandon is. It's just effort, I don't know.
At first it was weird, but meeting y'all in real life is like, it's like I know y'all as friends. I mean, we do know you as friends. Alex, like that one felt like a real but uncommon name. Oh, when you're talking about his name was Harith. I mean, I was for the longest time just calling him Harith. I thought he was like a heretic. How did you come up with the name Choco?
You know what? I actually planned to make content a long time ago. So, when it came to like making content, basically, God, let me start this at the beginning. I've always been a massive fan. I've read all the books and read a lot of books. And I always kind of wanted to like make content. I started listening to some podcasts. That's actually what introduced me to a lot of stuff. Like my favorite at the time was Marvel Movie News, and that's with Coy. That's where I first saw him, Coy and Markia McCarty. And I found some Star Wars ones, like Theory and a couple other ones, and none of them knew what they were talking about. Like all of them were just wrong about a lot of stuff. And it's because I'm reading these books as they are talking about the books or talking about the characters, and it's really obvious they haven't read these books, and they're trying to like talk about things. It was just like irritating. So I was always going to be Darth Chocolate. That was my name. That was like my original Steam name. That's my PlayStation Network name. You know, for years and years and years, and finally, I start a TikTok, and Darth Chocolate is taken. So I go with Darth Choco, and that's it. I didn't choose the name; the name chose me.
That's
the long and short of it.
Speaking of which, I feel like back then, Wikipedia was today's AI. Like, if you really wanted to pretend like you knew what you're talking about, today you would ask AI. That back then, you would just go to Wikipedia and be like, oh, okay, so this is like... But, of course, Wikipedia is fan-edited, so it often comes with biases and... So, I mean, they still list Jango Fett as a Mandalorian.
Yeah, so it's biases, it's interpretations. And also, there's no guarantee that the person who is editing it has actually read that book. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah. It becomes a game of telephone, you know. One of the biggest ones I see people talk about all the time is Darth Vectivus, the good Sith. Darth Vectivus was not a good Sith. That's not a thing. And so people would talk about it, and they would make things and add stuff to it. And
Toretto, SWAT came into my house, disrespected my whole family because somebody knocked me out.
I feel like I feel like I gotta redeem SH14 there. Toretto, SWAT came into my house, disrespected my whole family because somebody knocked me out. You know what? It was you.
I ain't never knocked on nobody. As he does his drive-by punch. Whew.
Thank you so much, Travis Mitchell, for the $9.99 ramen drop and the Fast and Furious drop as well. That was epic. Very, very epic. That,
I remember what I was saying.
In the words of Jesse, that decimated
all.
We got Inquisitor Akula saying Ejectocito, cuz. Forget about it, cuz. You should make a bunch of shorts correcting misconception series. We kind of like have, for the most part, like.
Yeah, and then things get busy and life gets busy, but it's something we always plan to do and come back to. The other thing is there's a lot of misconceptions that we have talked about a lot endlessly, and I almost feel bad for our many mutuals who have been following us for years, for them to watch the same stuff over and over again, but there's always new people coming in and finding us and seeing this stuff for the first time. So like that's still important, but I don't know. It's
I mean, it's the reality of content creation. We can't reach every single person on the internet or in the world, and so no matter how many times I've corrected things about Grey Jedi, 3 videos next I'll talk about like something on Rebels, and then somebody was like, well, what about Grey Jedi? And I'm like, but I just talked about it.
Sometimes like that was the last video.
Yeah. So
I mean, yes, exactly, Craig. I'm also Count Chocula. No, I'm not regal enough for that, you know.
But anyways, we are going to continue to do that. I mean, our mission has always been to educate the masses and correct misinformation, and like I'm still making.
Also, to just have fun with people.
I'm still making videos on Acolyte and the Rise of Skywalker. Just recently about the sinking fields in Pisana. That's just always going to be on the dais, honestly. And if you're my follower, all you gotta do is just, scroll past. Make sure to leave a like, though. but we can talk about one thing 5 times. The next video we talk about is like on the other side of the spectrum of Star Wars, and we'll get a comment. Well, what about this? I'm like, oh, I just made a video on this. So.
Yeah. Hey, Jedi DePaul! How's it going, buddy? How's it going, Ryan? Great to see you.
Hey, Jedi Master DePaul. That's his real name. Let's see. The sinking fields critique is such a nothing burger complaint. We've hit the bottom of the barrel. I mean, and that's sort of like
we've always been at the bottom of the barrel,
But that's the whole reason why I make those videos. So like, I also get the comments of like, they always try to comment saying, well, just because it was done in other movies doesn't make it good. And I'm like, you're arguing a straw man here, because I never said it was good. I said this is a dumb complaint because it's such a massive trope, right? You have the knife lining up, you have the coin that lines up in Goonies, you have the sinking fields, you have all of these tropes, this desert door trope, and I'm not saying either of them are used well or makes the movie good. I even said in my video, I still don't like The Rise of Skywalker, but this is a dumb complaint. So, yeah, it's...
Yeah, but how do they know where to stand? They're like, the knife had coordinates on it, and I told them where to stand. I don't... It's in the movie. I actually thought of you the other day because a video popped up. Someone who I hadn't seen in a long time. NerdSync. I don't know if you ever used to watch NerdSync videos.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I mean, she's just a geek. He's just always made videos about nerdy stuff. He's one of the people I followed before I even started. But yesterday he actually made a video that was making fun of Ben Shapiro's critique of the movie Wake Up Dead Man, Ryan Johnson's movie. And even though it wasn't Star Wars, that video so perfectly encapsulated what I hate about this. The hate train is that it's decided before it happens, and therefore they're unable to take in any information that dispels the complaint that they're already working towards, as well as having zero media literacy, so they don't know the difference between story and plot, and they can't understand what story is actually being told, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
I'd highly recommend checking it out, in your spare time.
The focus of their ire is also informs the way that they critique as well.
Yeah, in this case, it very much was, this person made The Last Jedi, and I don't like The Last Jedi, so therefore I hate this movie. It's got to be bad, therefore I don't understand it. And everything he says is wrong, or in the movie, or his interpretation is just horrendous. But it's exactly how I feel in a lot of these Star Wars conversations. Check it out.
Spooky Kitty started your Final Fantasy journey. What did you start with? Did you start with just the first Final Fantasy?
Yeah, it was like, that could mean so many things.
Travis says, call yourself Choco Donna. That way when somebody asks where it came from, it's a story for another time.
You know what? I'm actually going to work I'm going to do that. I'm going to work up a whole, like at work, people have been like, oh man, you smell really nice. And of course, it's because I'm rocking Choco Musk, as usual. But yeah, I'm gonna make it a whole thing. I'm from Chakodana, and I drive a Choco truck.
I don't know what it says about me, but the scent that I run with is Midnight Swim.
Okay. You know, I haven't actually found a specific scent. Like my old one was Armani Code, but I was a different person back then. You know.
This is exactly what I'm always saying. Like, there are legitimate things to criticize in the movie. Those guys just pick the dumb ones. Yeah. There's also a new project from Paramount that used to be in Lucasfilm's upcoming portfolio. It's an all-black story about set in West Africa. I think it's called Children of the Blood something. And if you're looking it up right now, definitely help me out with the specifics on that.
I was not.
What were you? I can look it up really quickly.
Children of Blood and Bone.
Yeah, Children of Blood and Bone. It's a West African story. And you know, the usual suspects, geeks and gamers. Ryan Cannell's talking about it, saying there's a double standard in Hollywood because it's an all-black movie. And they were comparing it to Odyssey, and it's just like, so what? Like, you can inject all of the colors in like the Odyssey, but this story has to be all black. It's like, no, the Odyssey was a stylistic choice by the director to cast those people.
Not
if it were trying to go for some measure of authenticity, then they would be Greek, like in ethnicity.
You would have some Greek people,
yeah,
in it. Not to mention, once again, Greek people, especially back then, were not white. Not to mention, Greek people back then loved black people. Constantly stated that they were the most attractive people, which is like that. It's a legitimate thing. But there was a lot of sharing and communication and connection between those cultures back then. You know, like Cleopatra was in Greece. Was from Greece. You know, like God, they're just dumb. That's the problem. They think that like a Norman Rockwell painting is how history has always been, and it's just not true.
Yeah, I believe what they said, and shout out to a good friend of the channel, Eric Debunks, for covering this. What they said on their podcast was that it's only white and European movies where they have to inject people of color. And I'm like, no, that's not true at all. Like,
what's a white movie?
I don't know. But it's dumb. It's dumb. This is a West African author, so it's a story about West Africa. It would make sense. And this is their story to tell, right? Odyssey is a fictional story. Let's see.
Yeah, but like you know, you could watch the Disney movie Brave, and it's all white people, and it's really important to the context of that film because of its timing and its setting. You know, if it's not important, then it's not important.
I saw a guy critiquing the dagger in episode 9, and it was, what if Rey was left-handed? Then the writing would be upside down. And she would have to account for that.
That's like... that's just someone who's never met a left-handed person.
No, but it also... it also goes into these tropes. The X marks the spot trope. What happens when it's the wrong hand? Oh, the map is upside down, idiot. And then they have to correct themselves. Like, that critique... And I know you're talking about some other guy's critique, but that critique is dumb as hell. Like, obviously, they're trying to line things up where everything, you know, is legible and, like, the numbers are up, right side up, and you never want to line something up starting upside down. If it doesn't work lined up side right, then you're like, okay, maybe we gotta rotate it a little bit, like Skyrim. But like, it's a classic trope thing. What do you want to do? I always thought it was dumb, but that's not what makes the movie bad.
Yeah. Travis Mitchell says, I'm Vietnamese/Chinese, but American enough for people to think I'm Mexican.
Hey, I'm Filipino enough for people to think I'm Mexican too.
Yeah, but in your case, it's kind of true. I'm just saying it's a lateral move.
Well, it was the Spanish that colonized us.
Yeah.
So if anything, we have Hispanic, like you know, I don't want to say roots, like Hispanic influence throughout our development. But then I guess I suppose the same thing is with Mexico and like the Aztecs and the Spanish colonization there.
But it's funny, like because my uncle is mixed, and no one can tell what he is. If anything, he looks more Middle Eastern than anything else. But he has stories every other day of people come up to him and start speaking a random language, and he has no idea. Sometimes it's Spanish, sometimes it's Arabic, sometimes it's like, it's funny.
Spooky says, I started with 16, realized it was the least Final Fantasy out of the Final Fantasies, so I bought FF6, and I'm also playing 7 Remake alongside it. That's cool. 6 is a good one.
Nice.
6 would be 3 in Japan.
I didn't play 6, but I played 7, and I really enjoyed 8, and I feel like 8 doesn't get the love it deserves.
8. What people don't realize is that 8 was the build crafting champion of the Final Fantasy series.
Why do you think I liked it?
And people don't realize it, right? Because for the longest time, Final Fantasy was about attack, magic, defend, item, right? Then they introduced the draw system, the GPs, the Guardians, and slotting different Guardians into stats and building your people that way. And you can make some dumb, overpowered builds.
That's
in
what I
that
like
game.
to hear.
And your power did not come from leveling up, as would be the case in a normal Final Fantasy game. It came from mixing and matching and building cards into your stats, where you could be like level 10 and like Mog, end game bosses with that build system. Unfortunately, it was too intellectual for the time, and they scrapped it. But that's why I understand why people love 8. And to this day, it is still the build crafting champion of the Final Fantasy franchise. Outside of 14, because it has actual classes and builds and stuff, which is the point of 14. But yeah. Let's see. I think my dad lined something up starting upside down, and that's how I happened. I mean, that shit works. Upside down, right side up, sideways, and all kinds of directions,
Jesus is European according to Hollywood. Yeah, sorry.
I played like 2 hours of 16. Like, when do I get another party member? I honestly haven't played 16. I want to though.
Hold on. Which one is 16 again? 16 is with Clive, right?
Again, I never played it. It was a high fantasy one though, with knights and stuff. Noctis was 13 or 15.
Yeah. So I did really enjoy 16. I enjoyed kind of like the different move sets that you would get to it, and then of course you're jumping back between old Clive and young, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. And then with Noctis, I actually loved that one a lot. but it was just a different vibe. You know what I mean? But that also may have been because that was like right when I got that console, and so I played the preview. But yeah, you're just cruising around in your car, and then all of a sudden it's nighttime, and a big demon comes out, and you're like, "This is weird." It was just random, you know. But like, also the party chatter, you know.
How I like to describe it is that, like, starting with 13, Final Fantasy started to try and modernize its combat in the way that I could envision them trying to bring back KOTOR in today's age. Because you can't, one-to-one bring it back.
No, that would be awful. I mean, it was a test system that they made, and frankly, I don't think it works.
Darth Angel says, thank you both for your work. I'm always learning. Well, I appreciate you, Darth Angel.
We appreciate you always hanging out.
Always there on the TikTok side, giving us them likes. Let's see. Soggy Quaver. Opinion on the Vader Episode 2 fan film. I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw Mace come back and I said, this destroys canon and this destroys lore. I'm not going to watch the rest of this. And if you want my reasoning for it, I mean, if that's what you're talking about, I'm unsure if that's what it is. I think it was Echoes of the Past or something. And like Mace was back and he was like, you know, he was like molly-whopping waves of clones, and then Sidious sends Vader to defeat him, and that is nonsensical because if Mace came back, he would be powerful enough to destroy both Sidious and Vader. There's no stopping Mace Windu if he's on the path of vengeance.
Yeah, I mean he already beat it. Like I'm sorry. I just there's just a lot of things that I feel like people just really like, but don't game out what the story would be a long term, right? So like I feel like he chose Mace because he's like, oh, Anakin and Mace have beef, and so it'd be great to have them come back and have to come. They don't have beef. Mace doesn't care. Like they don't actually have beef. You know, kind of like the same thing with people want them to like him and Boba Fett to fight, and you're like, but the Book of Boba Fett was him moving beyond that, like.
Yeah, if you guys want a good read, I recommend Padawan and then Glass Abyss. Because with Padawan, you learn that Anakin like looks at Mace, and then Mace just looks at Anakin. And Anakin's like, "This guy doesn't want me to exist." And then in Glass Abyss, all Mace is like, "This is a talented young boy. Like I wish I could train him. This is great. We should look after him more because he's the chosen one." And then like. There's two different like perspectives there. Like Mace just treats everyone that way. And Anakin's the one, obviously Anakin's the one that's getting like gaslit by Palpatine's like they don't trust you. So like it's easy for Anakin to kind of reach that conclusion, but Mace has never held any beef with Anakin at all. I mean, he might have, and you can also see that losing his hand,
but like even when you watch, and even then he wouldn't, right? Because I did this thing about how Mace reacted with Proset Dibs, who was trying to kill him. You know what I mean? But I've said before, I've said again, Mace Windu is just a football coach who knows that you can do better. Yeah. He's a football coach who he gets there, and the star athlete is not trying in school and is not learning and is just kind of a dick to people, and so he makes that person do extra laps, or he says you can't play this game, and it's like, what? I'm the star player, and you're like, you can't play till you get your grades up. oh man, he just hates me, and you're like, no, he wants you to learn.
Sagi says, I think the whole fun of it is it's non-canon. Let your imagination run wild. Yeah, I'm not dogging on it for existing. But at least for me, this is what happens when I let my imagination run wild. Like, Mace would be strong enough to defeat Vader and Sidious. Like, this isn't a contest. You know? Mace already was powerful enough to defeat Sidious during that time. And so you make Anakin half the man he was and a robot. Mace treats him like Grievous, crushes his chest, crushes his life support control unit, and then goes on to like Mog Palpatine again. Like that's what happens when my imagination runs wild. I don't see a universe in which Mace comes back to mete out justice and suddenly he's been nerfed. You know, I can understand Yoda doesn't have the power because Yoda is a little bit older, and during that time he's like reached the twilight of his life. But not Mace.
See, one thing I will say is I appreciate that those projects were done with actors and with, you know, this one was with CG, right? People will send like these AI slap, and I hate it. And the more I think about it, it really bothers me to see these people use actual actors' likenesses. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing if something's animated, that's a character, right? That's the character of Luke Skywalker. It's another thing if that's Mark Hamill, who's a human, he's an actor, he has a career, he does stuff, and you are just kind of trying to steal his essence for your own project.
So after my sketch about the...
And and even, you know, so these people will be like, whoa, well, but, you know, this isn't for profit. And you're like, no, it's not that it's not for profit. It's that you aren't selling access to this. Those people are still using this artist's likeness and talents and skills to make a name for themselves. It's just weird. It's just, I don't like it. I you know, I wouldn't want. It'd be weird if you made an AI me doing stuff. I'd be like, that's gross. I don't like it. You know what I mean?
There's there's also a video that I was tagged in recently that uses that you know what, I'm gonna let you react to
I
it
agree with you,
full
Harith,
time.
but I think it's worse when you're stealing the physical person, you know.
I'm gonna let you react to this in real time.
Oh no.
Let me know if you guys have watched this. I was tagged in it. It's gaining momentum, but I left my... Everything's wrong about this. Okay, let's watch this.
Luke. Years ago, when our base was hidden on Dantooine, our scouts discovered the ruins of an old Jedi temple. Maybe you'll find something that still remains there.
Yeah, I don't like it. Also, I'd expect Luke's cloak to be brown, but whatever.
I felt your presence. But this place has been abandoned for centuries. Who are you?
Once a Jedi who believed he could save the Republic. A Sith
who believed he could master the darkness. In the end, only a man who learned the cost of both. I have been known by many names, but most called me Revan. Now, why have you come?
The Jedi are gone. Their temples, their masters, their knowledge, almost everything they built, has vanished. I came here hoping that somewhere within these ruins, the truth about
No,
them
this
still
isn't
remains.
the same one, Cub Cost. This is a different one that I
I'm
was
searching for what the
tagged
Jedi
in
once
today.
were, so that I may rebuild them.
Then you are already making the same mistake. Every generation believed the same, that they would succeed where the last had failed. Tell me, why did the Jedi fall?
Because they were betrayed. The Sith destroyed them.
No, the Sith ended the Order. They did not create its weakness.
Then what caused it?
An order does not fall in a single day. It begins long before anyone notices. If you seek to understand the Jedi, then do not begin with their destruction. Begin with the choices that led them there.
What choices?
The Jedi Code existed for a reason. It was born from wisdom. But wisdom can become doctrine, and doctrine can become a prison.
The Code exists to protect Jedi from the dark side.
It does. But when the Code becomes more important than those it was
find
meant
myself
to protect, it ceases
agreeing
to
with
serve
Luke.
the Force.
And being like, Revan's
Then
dumb.
why did they cling to it so tightly?
Because every generation writes its rules to prevent the last disaster. The Jedi feared attachment because they had seen attachment destroy great Jedi. They feared anger because they had seen anger consume noble hearts. They feared war because they had seen war corrupt the righteous.
Then the Code wasn't wrong.
No, its purpose was never the problem. Its certainty was.
What do you mean?
In my time, the Mandalorians invaded the Republic. World after world burned. The Council chose not to intervene.
The Jedi were meant to be keepers of peace, not soldiers.
That is what I was taught. But I chose another path.
I became a Sith Lord and it killed a lot of people.
We'll stop it here to just kind of go over what is so wrong about just this entire thing in general. Luke is actually they're what they wrote for Luke is actually not that unreasonable. In fact, Luke actually has the most wisdom in this exchange. My problem with this, and I'll throw it over to Choco. My problem with this is that this is a huge mischaracterization of Revan.
Yeah.
And it is Darth Revan who's showing up to Luke.
Right?
And it is glorifying his choices as if it was the correct choices. Revan's story, especially if you read his book, the way he laments it, is that his has always been a cautionary tale. The same thing with Anakin, right? The Jedi were not scared of war. They had just gotten out of one and were rebuilding. Like, we don't have the manpower for this. And Revan's like, all right, bet I'll just do this on my own. So it really wasn't like an ideological clash. Yeah, go ahead, Choco.
This it just feels like a Wikipedia project. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You thought Darth Revan was cool, and so you looked him up on Wikipedia, and this is what you came out with. And it's also, what's interesting is we know that while the core of the Jedi will always remain the same, what they are and need to be to help the galaxy can and will shift over time, which is a lesson Luke has already has learned. I also think that this is probably someone who doesn't know what attachment means. And so that's a big basis for what they're trying to make Revan teach Luke. But that is incorrect. Like like they took Revan at the point they thought was the coolest, and not at the end of the story, which kind of goes back to what I said earlier. It's like they chose a point in the plot when he was badass, and they didn't understand his story at all.
Yeah, because what I'm getting from this, and we'll continue it after this. What I'm getting from this is that they are positioning Revan, at least in this scene, as some sort of signpost for wisdom that Luke needs to learn. But they took him in a point, like you said, in a point in his life where he's the most badass, but also at the point of his life where he was the least wise. Because if you take this further into his story, Revan ends up saying, everything that I've done has been wrong. I should have been better. Let's see. Why is the Plagueis novel non-canon? As in, what does it benefit anyone to not make it a canon read? It just wasn't. It was just written before 2012.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing when it comes to things being canon versus non-canon is, it's mostly the timing thing. So even if a story would largely fit in canon, it still doesn't make it canon. Not to mention, it doesn't fit. So that's the other reason why they wouldn't make it, is because for a lot of people will read that story and think, oh, it fits. But those people probably are not actively reading much canon literature, right? If you aren't reading other canon books and other canon stories, you won't find the places that make it not fit. You know what I mean? So that's
also, it
it's
doesn't
like
fit with the movie, right? Because Dooku meets Anakin.
Yeah, I mean, so it technically doesn't fit in with the movies, and as well as it doesn't fit. Everything on Naboo is wrong, and doesn't fit into canon, and a lot of the politics and stuff in the galaxy doesn't fit in with canon. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't work, as well as the timeline.
Harris says, I love y'all, but you're trying to rationalize with a wall. This person doesn't care enough since they resort to AI slop. We're not trying to rationalize with anyone. I mean, the creator of this isn't even here.
I wouldn't bother talking. I mean, trying to explain it to certain people.
I think what we're trying to do as we react to it live is at least put it out into the ether and try to make sure that there's some voice out there that's saying this is, first of all, painting Revan as some kind of paragon when everything he did just was wrong. Like, he was talking about the Jedi were afraid to go to war. He chose a different path. And I think what he says here...
Why did you go to war?
Yeah, why did you go to war?
Because peace had already died. Every day the council delayed, another plea for help went unanswered.
And so, like, he speaks as some kind of paragon, but in going into war, there was enough casualties already, but at the end of that war, he fell to the dark side, and then there was another war with the Republic that led to the mass shadow generator incident on Malachor. Then that led to the Sith triumvirate hunting down the Jedi and wiping out the Jedi. Everything he did had a halo effect that caused genocides. So what he's saying
as well as the creation of a Revanite cult, and like, it was all that.
So what he's saying in this is like, I chose to go to war because the pleas for help were being ignored, and he's like, well, that turned into galactic like death in the trillions. So Revan's story, much like Anakin's, is a cautionary tale, and neither of them should be spouting any wisdom. You know, that's why all Anakin wants to teach Ahsoka in that scene with him in Ahsoka is just like, do you want to live or die? You know what? I'm not going to sit here and kind of proselytize as if I was like a better person than you. And the same thing when he appears to Luke in Shadow of the Sith. The Anakin is just like, you know what? I felt this before. Be careful, my son. And then is like, I gotta go. Yeah.
If every Jedi chooses when to ignore the Council, there is no order.
And if every Jedi obeys while innocents perish, what exactly is the Order protecting?
That's we can stop it here, but that is technically a false dilemma, because like people can listen to the Council and also go and help people. So like, you know.
Yeah, but the thing is, I get where the creator, like, I'm not trying to insult the creator of it, or at least their ideology, because it's something that if you were someone who just followed, you know, certain content creators or whatever, this is how you might think or feel or whatnot, or if you kind of missed certain things purposes. But it's interesting, you know, because there are conversations to have with what the Jedi should and should not be involved in, and I think those are great conversations. I would not put Darth Revan as any sort of expert or good advisor on that at all.
Yeah. It's also the fact that this is like AI.
Yeah.
That really bothers me. Again, it's like, did they get Mark Hamill's consent to use his likeness there? Did they? I mean, what assets did they use for Revan?
Really does bother me. It has so many cool concepts though, like the Sith going to that one planet to fight the natives.
From Plagueis?
The Sith going to the one planet to fight the natives. Sorry, I'm trying to think of exactly which part in Plagueis that is. So, I mean, there was the one person that Plagueis was trying to recruit who was just kind of like a weird murderer who kept popping up and trying to kill people, and like that planet, or the one who was who like led a cult. I'm not sure, but no, there's a lot of great things in Revan. By the way, we just like it not being canon doesn't mean it's not good. Like, it's a great read. I really enjoy that book, and I enjoy James Luceno's writing style, right? So I definitely don't want to fault you or anything like that.
Oh yeah,
but like
things being non-canon is no indication of the quality of the work.
Yeah, I feel like people hear, oh, it's not canon, and they hear that as an insult, and I'm just like, no, that's not an insult at all. It's still a phenomenal read. And James Luceno wrote the book Tarkin and tried to bring little aspects that he could from Plagueis into canon, which was really cool.
Yeah. My favorite era is the Old Republic. That's not canon. It's canon on my arm. Which is funny because, like,
it's early on after he takes in Palpatine.
Bro,
you know what? I know. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. I remember that part of the book. My bad.
You know what's funny? My right arm is Legends. My left arm is canon because it's got the World Between Worlds and it's got a quote from Rogue One.
Does that make you like Chad?
What? Oh, perhaps, maybe. Though I don't like go into fights yelling out El Brazo del Mercado. I don't know. What does he yell out?
Cannon!
Legends!
Legend shield. Yeah.
You talking about your arms is like that scene from Do the Right Thing? I don't think I've seen that one.
I'm coming up empty. I know I've seen it, but it's been a very, very long time.
I agree. I just never noticed the incongruity you guys mentioned. Well, I mean,
Which is fine. There's no reason, but that'd be why I'd say, like, you know, I'm not someone who will be like, oh, I'm just going to consider that canon anyways, because, you know, it's A, not, and B, as more canon stuff comes out, there's going to end up being more and more conflicts and issues and things.
well, also you have to realize that me and Choco, and as well as like a large portion of this community, are different kinds of animals when it comes to continuity. And so we're often thinking about how things fit into canon, how things fit into continuity, where we read books in all different eras and we're thinking about like the implications that this story has on the chronology prior or the future. And it's just something that we think about because, at least for us as lore masters, the one thing that we prioritize is lore accuracy. And so like when we're correcting people's lore on like a video, for example, we often have to distinguish between legends and canon just to kind of make sure we're following the same continuity here. So if I talk about anything from KOTOR, I'm gonna say that's legends and it has nothing to do with canon Old Republic, because we don't really have that story. And so we just make that distinction to know what we're talking about.
But that being said, I highly recommend reading, like, I don't know, I think it's an unofficial trilogy or unofficial quadrilogy. You know, you read Plagueis, and I'm sorry, there's not really any good book for like Phantom Menace or anything like that in Legends. But from that, go into Labyrinth of Evil.
I was going to say Labyrinth.
And then from that, go into the episode 3 novelization. And then from that, go into Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. That book, okay, The Rise of Darth Vader, that goes hard, man. That book goes hard.
You don't try to merge the two continuities. My experience is pretty easy to separate the two. I mean, that's another thing too, because like there's clearly parts of the continuity that clash with each other, like after Return of the Jedi, right? There's a lot of stuff in the prequels that clashes with Legends continuity. The clones, Maul story.
Hey, Pathos Poe got the deluxe hardcover copy of Revenge of the Sith novelization.
So, in an attempt to reconcile with those clashing natures of continuity, we just have to, we just have to recognize they are two separate continuities, which brings us to the Ninth Jedi.
Although, real quick, I just have to say, Kenobi novel, the Obi Riz story, I mean, it's true. And, he was doing things with, what was her name, Annabeth. My problem with that story is that he was risen up the wrong person. Ayark was right there You know what I mean?
I'm a Satine truther. So, but this brings us to Ninth Jedi, because what I wanted to talk to the monsters about and to Choco about is this newfangled establishment of a new expanded universe. Right? It's still Legends, but it's not particularly in the Legends continuity. So we have
there is no Legends continuity. that's the thing about it. That's what makes it wonderful, but that's what makes it bad.
I know,
well.
but there's certain books that have their own continuity, and it is Legends.
You're fine, Pathos.
But like, so we have the movies and the TV shows that are canon, and then we have the books and comics, which is extended canon. But now we have a burgeoning expanded universe that is Legends, that can be a living document as well, or a living lexicon, right?
Yeah,
because
living unto itself. Yeah,
because what if Ninth Jedi turns into a series that has multiple seasons, and then we get books on it? So this is not canon, but this is ninth canon, or ninth canon.
Ninth canon. I like that.
This is Ninth
Welcome to
Jedi
Ninth
canon, right? So
I mean, that's not the first though, because we got the Ronin book.
That's true.
And that is its own, that is its own continuity as well.
You know what? Harith might be right. Would this be considered Visions? No, because all of the Vision stories
Visions
are
is
different
a nexus that branches out.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily, because like, Lop and Ocho is not the same continuity as the Pits, and it's not the same continuity as Ao's song.
I fell in it, the pit.
So I do agree with Harith that Visions is its like brand, where it says Visions Presents, right? But I think with the first Ninth Jedi episode, and then the second episode of volume that we got of it, and then this series, in tandem with any books and comics that might come out hereafter, would be its own continuity. The ninth universe, the ninth galaxy, the ninth canon, maybe. Who knows? But this is what I wanted to talk about. Like, could the Ninth Jedi spark a new expanded universe where we're not constantly harping on canon anymore? We care when canon projects come out, but like, now this is a new story that we can follow, right? And it's going to establish new lore.
Yeah.
It's going to establish new continuity and history.
I mean, honestly, I dream of us having a bunch of different continuities. Like, I mean, again, these are already two, but we do this in comic books all of the freaking time.
Yeah.
And it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, no one is. I don't know.
I mean, speak your.
This is 616 to me, and you're like, it's just not though. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. It's not, and that's okay.
Star Wars Elseworlds. I mean, I think in all honesty, like it's all Star Wars. It just, you have one timeline that's considered canon, and other timelines that tell different stories.
Harris says, I mean, DC is historically a mess when it comes to like 5 different continuities. Yeah, but DC will have an event where they're like, okay, everything's destroyed now.
Is that like the Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yeah, they'll have a crisis events, and then Rebirth was like, okay, no, we're back, and things were like it was before, but like a little different in different ways, and you're like, okay, I don't even know.
But yeah,
I just hope Luke Skywalker shows up in Doomsday. There was that one place that Doctor Strange flew through that looked a lot like Mustafar. I'm just saying. You never know.
Here's another thing to consider. Pathos. I like that name, by the way, too. Pathos poet. We have lore and legends that just does not work in canon. So the canon,
It's dooming time.
so the canon explanation for Force Ghosts is that it is exclusive to the light. And we see the dark side's approach to this being specters tethered to, personal items. This is Darth Bane's tomb. But in the Old Republic, Force Ghosts be everywhere. Not just in the tombs. We do have specters in the Korriban tombs, but like Darth Mar, and
Darth Mar is
else,
just chilling.
I know, but that's not congruent with canon lore on Force Ghosts, so that's why it doesn't work. But yeah, other than that,
listen, I need a Star Wars Mass Effect mashup where Legion is Darth Mar, and that would just make my life. I need it.
I mean, listen, can't we just make them in the same universe?
Hey, I mean, what if Ninth Jedi is canon, but it's just so far in the future that kyber crystals have evolved more sentience than they ever had before. And who knows, maybe a million years after that, it's just kyber crystals now fighting each other.
Well, here's the thing.
There's an anime where it's like they're just gems, humanoid gems that fight. It's crazy.
Here's the thing. I think we can make Mass Effect work if it is so far into the future that they have actually scientifically replicated the Force. That's where biotics comes from. And then everything else fits together.
Although, actually, I would flip it. I would make it. Wait. No, never mind. I thought about it backwards. No, but biotics, right, are creations, and it would just be interesting if that is what was an iteration of dark side cults trying to recreate the Force, and then they just kept going and going. But it would have been beyond the Ascended.
But I would love like the burgeoning era of biotics, and just have a showdown between biotics and like Force users.
No,
that'd be cool.
And then the Reavers are just Revan.
I mean, so do you think the assuming direct control and all of them, what were they called?
I mean they. Oh my goodness, I want to say husks, but I mean they're the ancient ones. They are the carekeepers, the caregivers. No,
help us out, Gage. I know
the collectors. Thank you, Gage. Gage is just coming through always. We appreciate you.
I do think that the collectors could. Yeah, the collectors fit into Star Wars canon. It's just another version of hive mind, root mind lore.
Yeah. I mean, it's not
the collectors
too dissimilar to like what you would get in like the Dark Nest trilogy of books, but just a lot better because those books are terrible.
The collectors created the Drengir.
You know, actually, though, what I want is for there just to be more stories out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm part of the problem myself, because we consume so much media, and I think we we need to have a true creation spike. You know, that's one of the other things that weirds me out to see a lot of Star Wars AI stuff, because I'm like, create something. Listen, if you didn't like, if you don't like maybe the sequel trilogy, and you miss Star Wars the way it was, well, what way was it to you? Create something that is that to you. You know, like you do that, and create your own universe and your own world and stories and stuff. And I don't know. I just think the world would be a better place. Because I think it's a lot harder to criticize things if you actually know how difficult it is to create something.
I mean, I think for the most part, a lot of people that have those good faith criticisms and are film critics and story analysts have done that. It's just the chuds that are out for the quick buck. You know.
Honestly, you know, my favorite iteration of that is My Hero Academia. When you watch My Hero Academia, there's so much Star Wars DNA baked throughout that entire anime, and the actual kind of messages that it tries to touch on, of how some of these people were just kind of rejected from society, and that's what turned them, but they actually need love too, and that's one of the reasons why they're, you know, I don't know. Also, if you watch it, he throws so many Star Wars references throughout that entire. They literally have a Tashi station.
Let's see. To be honest, I'm not too focused on Ninth Jedi. I'm at the point of just give me a post-Tross show. So anything else right now starts off being negative to me. Come on, go. You know that ain't true. Have you read Legacy yet? I have to read it still. It just came out on the 28th. Have you read it?
Read what?
Legacy.
Sorry. No.
It's the Leia Rey comic book.
I remember it because we have that, and then we also the romance book just came out too, right?
Eye of the Heart or something. I'm probably gonna finish Legacy this weekend. I'm gonna listen to it in the car.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna finish it this week. Hey, Ryan PW, you want to come on in 2 weeks and talk about it?
And bring with you one of your trivia stuff.
Yeah, you should come talk about on the 14th. Or the 14th.
Yeah, because we're not going to be here next week.
Cool.
All right, that's that.
Or maybe the 21st. I'm sorry. Let's do.
What do you mean?
Let's make it the 21st. Well, there's a high probability that we are going to want to do a Rebel Scum Con Redux kind of episode, and may have guests from that were also in attendance.
True. And have those
Newest novel
guests.
I've read was Master of Evil, and I found it very whelming. First of all, I appreciate the reference. I'm also a massive fan of Young Justice, so I appreciate. Yeah.
So
Why is no one ever just whelmed?
So, if you're ruthless, does that mean you're full of Ruth? If you're not, yeah, we could do that. The 21st, we'll come back and do a legacy episode, talk about the Rey and Leia book. Of course, if you're just tuning in now, next week we'll be gone. We'll be at Rebel Scum Con. We have a panel room B at 4 p.m. on Saturday. We're doing Balance in the Force. We will also be participating on the previous panel with Skywalking. The Force Feud, and there is a link pinned in the YouTube chat if you want to take that survey and help shape that Force Feud game with us. When I say D23, I meant the 14th, not the 1st. Wait, what?
Yeah, he's saying that the 21st might be better.
Oh, okay. Why has everything happened in like the same months? Because then, like, I'm also like planning to move as well. It felt like a Vader aura farming fanfic, in my opinion.
I've heard mixed feelings about it. I've heard a lot of people say that they loved it, and then a lot of people were just not into it. And I feel like it depends on how much of a Anakin stan you are, maybe.
Oh, Ryan's also gonna be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be partying up with Ryan. We also got Justin
Obi-Wan
will be there. He already texted me. And Obi-Wan. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
I don't know. We're probably gonna get to the last slide in our deck, and Ryan's gonna be like, "Well, actually, nah. We gotta we covered all our bases with this panel. So, I dare you."
Vader is hard to not make cool, but the dialogue was kind of bad, in my opinion. Anakin's dialogue is bad. It felt hollow, like the main thing the author had to say was Vader is dope. Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I started that book and I didn't finish it. There's been a lot of stuff outside of Star Wars going on, but I do need to just buckle down and grind through it.
Let me just say, for the 100th time, as many times as people want like Vader stuff or Sith stuff,
they don't want it. They just don't know that they don't want it.
The thing is, though, and I keep on saying this, when they are Sith, they lose all personality.
Yeah.
So you can't write a lick of dynamism in their dialogue or whatever.
The Sith literally don't have interesting thoughts. They don't have interesting things to say. It's just, are we doing bad stuff today? Hell yeah. Cool.
Now, what I will say about wanting The Stranger and a dark side story, that's infinitely more interesting because we're talking about the journey in between and what it means to them, what their motivations are for chasing this kind of temptation, right?
Yeah.
But we all know once they're there, they're just gonna stand there, like you said, aura farming, essentially.
I mean, did you guys watch or read Lords of the Sith? Anyone in chat? I mean, so first of all, that book kind of did Chamson do that dirty because he wasn't quite written.
Darth Bane was a rich character and he still had personality while being him. That part of, like, most of his book was not him being Darth Bane. Or sorry, most of his books.
Yeah, that was a very different time for this. So when you have a bunch of Sith, then that becomes a lot better because there's actually people to interact with and stuff like that, and there's conflict, you know.
But also, like, that was still his journey, right?
But yeah, that was his journey, and then he becomes Darth Bane, and then he just sits quietly in his study, and then the books are about Xana being interesting because she's like, oh, he just kind of sucks now.
but then most of his ruminations as Darth Bane is about the flaws within the Brotherhood of Darkness.
Even the Sith needs a book club.
You know? So there are ways to write interesting books about it, like his journey to the dark side and his criticisms and analyses of why the Sith need to change. But like, be honest with me. If you had to have a book after the fact where it was just Darth Bane, what would you write about, right? He's... Well, I don't know. Do we know for sure? Was Darth Bane successful in transferring into Xana?
No. I mean that was Xana at the end.
Right. So what but if you what would Darth Xana book be?
Yeah. But okay, so Pathos, what did you think of the book Lords of the Sith? I'm gonna be honest, I hated it. but aside from the intro went hard. But I just think it's difficult. I mean, I think the James Luceno book is really the only one that did it as well as I would want it done. It just becomes a very difficult narrative because you have to make the book about good guys and then have, them as the bad guy kind of coming around and coming and doing stuff. Hey, what's up, Connor? Connor, hockey fan.
How's it going, twin? Welcome to the show. Here's another thing. Every interesting novel that we've read about a Sith has been about their deconstruction of Sith ideology or their journey towards it. So if we have Deceived, when Malgus is just really one-dimensional in that book. Really one-dimensional. But if we take his story in SATOR, and it's all about his critiques of Sith ideology and going against it, we have a far more interesting story. Same thing with Revan's book. It's all about his lament of all of the decisions he made leading to his dark side. But everything about his dark side is like, kill them, blow them up, or something like that. Right? So when they are Sith, it's kind of like, what do we do? Where do we go? And then it's always the journeys, honestly. And by the way, that's what I this is kind of coming full circle. That's what pisses me off about people who talk about Darth Directivist. We know next to nothing about his time as a Sith. All right, he is a background of a background character. He has less of a story than Nihilus, doesn't he?
Yeah. So basically, his story was like he was a successful businessman who ran a mining company, and he was mining an asteroid, and he burrowed too deep and hit like a dark side nexus, and I was like, "What's this about?" And then he studied to become a Sith, and then later he just stopped being a Sith and came back and retired and like died surrounded by people he loved. And so people are like, "Oh, that means he was a good Sith." And you're like, no, we know where he started, and then we know where he ended, but he stopped in the middle. You know what I mean? Like,
it's kind of a mirror of Set's story, right? Because he's kind of like, he's like all about he's all about like the glamour and himself. And then Xana's like, "Do you want to be my apprentice?" And then like when he becomes Xana's apprentice, he's like, "Yo, this shit's boring, dude. Like, I don't want to do this anymore." Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes we know people become Sith, and then like they're just like, "Well, what are we doing? We're just kind of like moping all day." I don't know how they did it for 1,000 years, hiding in shadows. What next? We might manipulate the banks this century. Oh, okay. How long is that going to take? Jesus.
Forever. Yeah. No, but Connor, yeah, it's great to hear from you. I'm happy you're enjoying your hockey. are you playing any? Also, the Leia Ray book, we were just talking about that. I know you're a big fan of both characters, so you should definitely check it out. That book dropped last week. This week.
Yeah.
Last week. Yeah, this week.
Tuesday.
So
we'll cover it.
You should pick it up and read it because we are going to have a discussion on it on the 21st of next month.
Outside of my excitement for Ninth Jedi and what it represents for, I suppose, establishing its own continuity or the ninth continuity, super, super excited. We're gonna do reactions to it, but we'll be when it premieres, we'll be doing the thing where we're at the con and everyone's gonna be talking about it, and we're gonna have to avoid the spoilers again.
Yes,
but yeah, I suppose we're in free period now because everybody's like.
Well, I just sent you a link. They actually released a character guide.
Oh.
By the way, I kind of miss when the main character Kara, her lightsaber was like enormous at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to go back to that. I wanted it to be like a lightsaber greatsword, I think that'd be really cool.
I think it would be cool to introduce different styles,
Yeah.
Because they do have the Shoto, they do have the same, the regular, but they have length adjustment. They have the pikes and stuff. All right, the Ninth Jedi character guide. La Kara.
Yep. We already know. We know Beskro.
Is a spirited teenage girl who lives with her father. Ta-da. Natural talent for lightsaber combat begins training in the Force when she's very young. Colorless lightsaber blade. It turns bright green in her hands as she holds her own against the Sith warriors in the Ariel Temple. Okay, so that was the first volume. La Zima. Interesting. Wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. That's Kara's dad.
I was confused. Like, wait, this kid.
He got older. They do look identical. That's
sort of.
That's true.
So that's Ethan. Of course, we saw him in Volume 1 as well. We saw all of these guys in Volume 1. Margrave Juro.
I like their little droid, but we did at the bottom.
4 9s.
4 9s was cool. I just love the new droids. Actually, anyone put it in chat what your favorite droid from Visions is, because there was actually a bunch of cool ones, right? We have the little samurai, the straw hat one from Ronin, the ball from that Mexican studio that was the first one for Vision Season 2. That one was so beautiful. There's the little droid who's being Astro Boy.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like Macross. You know what? Speaking of droids, let me know what you think about. So, I don't know if you tuned in last week for our session 0. But tomorrow we'll be starting our first campaign episode with everything GM. I'll put a link in the community tab for those who want to tune in for that. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, be starting our actual campaign. And one of the characters is J0HN1, which is Johnny. But like in character, I kind of want to be like J0. I'll just call you Jay-Z. We have Gramps, old droid.
Gramps was cool, actually. I did like him. Just a grumpy old droid.
Are we gonna get a guide for the master we saw in Volume 2. Hanbei is one of the...
We had Tito in the temple.
His master is trapped inside an inaccessible back-to tank. So we're not going to see...
And Geno is this newest character that they're showing us.
Oh, man.
And I think he looks cool. The lightsaber looks cool as balls.
I want, like, a falchion saber.
Ah, that would be cool.
This guy, for some reason, just looks like Mowich. We are
okay, that's fair. That's not what I was thinking, though. No, I look at that guy and I think that he's about to take a serum and turn into a Titan. Like,
that looks like a shot from Invincible. Speaking of droids, when are we getting that droid show, Disney? It's been 6 years. I don't think we're getting it, unfortunately. There's a lot of things. See, there's a lot of things that was announced during the investors call that's meant to shore up excitement, but those aren't necessarily real press release announcements. So in actuality, we didn't really like what we've gotten versus what was announced. Barely scratched the surface. The leader of Makomako, Dunbai, is a former Jedi Knight who left behind his force training and chose to protect his people through politics and commerce. Instead, he once operated as merchant in the Outer Rim before assuming leadership of the Free City State. Okay. I'm looking forward to Geno. But of course, there was some of that stuff that we saw in the trailer. Do we think that Kara will in fact turn a lightsaber red, or is that a vision of her fears? What's going on?
I call that a dream.
A dream is a wish your heart makes. Right? Isn't it?
Stop it. Get some help.
Stop. That's true though, right? All right, so you think it's going to be a dream?
Yeah, I'm banking on it's a dream sequence.
Yeah, I don't think there's any substance behind that. Cough cough, Lando show film, whatever you want to call it. We may still get it. Honestly, none of that stuff was announced with release dates. The last image looks like a Boruto Naruto animation. How dare you? It depends, right? Because yeah, Naruto and Boruto are known for derps.
Okay, they are, but like they also have really good animation too. So like I don't know. I always hate that comparison.
I don't.
You know?
I think
yeah,
it's something that is. I think it is something that is uniquely Pierrot, because like when their animation is good, it is so good. It's because it's so good that the rest of their animation is derp. When it's not that team.
Yeah.
Disney karaoke at Rebel Scum Con. When?
Listen, I'm down for it. I mean, karaoke is a con tradition for us nowadays. So, hell yeah.
I mean, it's definitely going to happen at Celebration 27 for sure. I think there's going to be karaoke at this third party event called Boonta Eve. That's not like officially Rebel Scum Con, but that's like $40 a pop. And so I think we're sticking to. We might even just like get like a small group of our own and just do it ourselves. You know, we'll see what happens.
Don't let Disney own Rebel Scum Con. Us fanboys or girls deserve our own con with no corporate backing. I mean, they don't own it, so
yeah,
that's good. You know, they. I mean, they don't even own Star Wars Celebration, really. That's been a Lucasfilm thing since before Disney. Yeah, I mean, the only Disney-owned con really is D23, which was fun. It just wasn't anything crazy. But yeah, there's actually a lot of fan-run Star Wars conventions, you know? There's even a Legends convention that happens here in California every year.
The stuff you've heard at karaoke, Ryan, is Legends. I don't know. It's pretty canon, at least to like Dyad continuity.
Yeah, right. It says they don't own it. The best part is people from Lucasfilm have been. Matt Wood and David W. Collins were there last year, so they're all for it. Yeah, I think Legends Con got canceled, unfortunately. Oh. Yeah, it's funny because like I feel like a lot of people don't or forget that the people who work at Lucasfilm, a lot of them have been there for a long. Like they are all fanboys and fangirls too. You know what I mean? Like that is not a. I don't know. I feel like people.
No, there wasn't a great exodus when Disney purchased Lucasfilm.
People act like, oh, everything's different now or whatever, or it's Disney Star Wars versus like, and that's just never been true. That's never been the case. You know what I mean? Like when I met, you know, Matt Martin, all we talked about was Legends because he was such a big fan and he really wanted to go to the Legends convention, but was afraid that people would be mean to him because they didn't like canon, because they think canon made Legends not canon anymore. We talked about that. It's been.
Here's a question for the monsters and Chaka specifically. What do you think? Like, okay, so we see this AI slop of Luke meeting Revan. We see the SOTOR cinematics go crazy when someone reacts and the comments are like, "Oh, better than anything Disney put out." What do you think would happen if they announced Star Wars The Old Republic movie releasing 2028 and all they showed was that cinematic and then the credits rolled? What do you think those people would say then?
Whatever they wanted to. I mean, it doesn't matter what is happening or what they see. They just, I don't know. I don't believe for a second that any of them would actually be happy because they can't be. They're not allowed to be.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. For all of the cries of like, this cinematic is better than anything Disney would do, without any thought of like, you know, context, storytelling, you're just looking at a awesome, you know, moving images, essentially. What would happen if they actually can't?
But again, these are people who don't know the difference between plot and story. That's why you can look at the cinematic and say, oh, it's a better story than Disney, even though they literally don't know the story.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking. All right, let's say they don't show a Star Wars Old Republic cinematic, but they released a new movie, and all it was that. It was a really cool 8-minute set piece of a Jedi fighting a Sith, and this choreography was crazy, and everything that a cinematic would be. And that's all they did.
Even if they made it good, then the conversation would be, it's so good, then why was this bad? And it would be about that thing. You know what I mean? Like there's not a way to, I don't know. I don't have any faith that there would be any good faith discussion. But you know, I'd enjoy it. Maybe we'll see what it is. I still want story. That's my preference.
Red Six Down says, I'm all for breaking up the Disney Lucasfilm merger. Like people in higher up want Paramount and WB. Okay. So
yeah, that's an entirely different thing.
well, here's the thing. It wasn't a merger. Okay, it was a buyout. So when you have two entities like Paramount and WB coming together for a merger, they're two companies becoming one, whereas Disney bought Lucasfilm, which means all of its subsequent profits, all of its licensing and IP revenues go to Disney. So if Lucasfilm split from Disney, Lucasfilm would not have any funding sources.
Yeah. It couldn't. That would be weird. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, they could do it, but it would be kind of like when Bungie separated from Microsoft and had to come out with Destiny because they couldn't make Halo games anymore.
Yes.
That being said, also I don't even know that I would say that it was a buyout. George Lucas approached them and said, I don't want this anymore. I want to retire and spend time with my family. I will sell this to you on the one like promise that you hire Kathleen Kennedy to run it, because that's who I've been trying to get to run the company for the past few years. You know, the whole Paramount thing are two major film studios, and so wanting to prevent those from merging, it's not like they're purchasing an IP. It's that they will corner the film industry. There less films, a lot less films would get made every single year, and yes, each one does own a lot of different IPs. Like, you know, they own DC Comics and stuff like that, but that's really an afterthought. Like, people want to prevent that merger as an antitrust thing. It's not even in the same realm of what George selling Lucasfilm was.
Yeah, and in the same vein, if Lucasfilm were to split from Disney, they would have to do what Bungie did. They'd have to start from scratch, make their own IPs again, or use whatever money they could secure to buy back the IP, which that's not happening because it's worth it's worth 15-20 billion now.
Oh, more than, I mean, the last I saw, the Star Wars IP was worth like $40 billion or something, or more than that, which is crazy because they bought it for $4 billion in 2012. Like, yeah. Disney has 10x the value of Star Wars. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's no way Lucasfilm splits and gets Star Wars back.
A closer parallel is Disney buying 20th Century Fox. It's closer. That's true. But I mean, 20th Century Fox also had a lot of other stuff going from it. It had studios, it had news channels, it had sports channels. That's why you see...
Valuation is across multiple IPs and licenses.
Yeah, I mean, like, they weren't allowed to own the news channels, right? So like news channels had to be spun off because otherwise they would own all the ABC news channels and all the Fox news channels, right? The same thing with sports, right? They already had ABC Sports, so they couldn't have ESPN. They had to be spun off. Like there's a whole bunch of other things too. Like the best parallel is when Disney bought Marvel, because that's literally the same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, great to see you, Bonsai.
What did Lucasfilm have? Their biggest IP obviously was Star Wars. They had Willow.
Yeah, but it was Star Wars,
Indiana
Jones, but also more importantly, we have Industrial Light and Magic.
That's true.
Right? We have, like, they have other companies run under that umbrella that re you know change how filmmaking works. In fact, I mean, Lucasfilm is what Pixar came out of, and that Disney had already bought.
What did Marvel? No, I'm thinking about. Nobody owns Weta, do they?
Owns what?
Weta.
I don't know what that
WETA?
is.
They're the studio that they're the ILM that did Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
They do the graphics and visuals for.
I have no idea. By the way, we didn't talk about Rings of Power coming back for season 3 as well. That might be.
Listen, if
that'll
we
be
didn't
cool.
talk about it, we will.
There is a bunch of stuff of Comic-Con announcements last week that happened that we just didn't. We had too much fun talking about other stuff, and so we apologize.
What is the what is the workshop that does Marvel stuff? Or does Marvel have their own in-house, like Marvel Studios does all of their visuals? Like Lucasfilm and ILM.
Yeah, I think it is Marvel. I think it is Marvel Studios that does their own. I mean, they outsource to contractors and then run them ragged because they don't view them as humans. But that's a separate topic.
Yeah, okay. They go to ILM? Really? I mean, that would make sense because Disney owns ILM. I would have thought that Marvel had their own version of ILM under their umbrella.
Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, because we actually have a couple friends who are in ILM and are work on some of these things. I need to reach out to them. It's been a while.
Marvel also uses Skywalker sound. Hey, listen, you buy a studio for $4 billion. I guess you're gonna just workhorse it for other companies as well.
Yeah. By the way, that was another one of George's stipulations. Is he's like, Star Wars is better than Marvel. You're gonna pay more, and they did. They paid a little bit more for Star Wars than they did for Marvel.
Now here's a question: what do you think is more valuable today, though?
Oh, Marvel for sure.
My friend works at ImageWorks and occasionally does Marvel Studio stuff. They would, yeah. I think particularly it would be because of the Spider-Man deal.
Well, I mean, the thing is, Marvel is an umbrella unto itself, right? So you have a lot of different properties and things. But not only that, but it's the exact opposite of Star Wars, where they have this wealth of comics to draw from in order to create their stuff to show, or cartoons or whatever, or merchandise, versus something like Star Wars that is films first, and though the films are what gets spun out into other media. But they also had a legendary run already of over 20 movies with several, I mean, honestly, I don't think Star Wars is too far behind. You know what I mean? There's a lot of naysayers who don't understand how valuable the IP is, or who don't understand that like the sequels are 3 movies that made $4 billion, which is insane.
Well, that's the other thing too, right? Star Wars has amassed close to the same amount of value in less with less movies.
Yeah, a lot less movies, a lot less time, and they were never the same powerhouse in like comic books or anything in outside media. Plus, I mean, Marvel
they go
has
to
all
Marvel
of the,
for comics.
Yeah. Plus, Marvel has all of the merchandising. It just has more opportunity for merchandising. That side is already larger. But I don't know. That's what I think. But I'm curious.
Marvel, let's see here. K-pop Demon Hunters? Yeah, that's true. That was Sony. I wish Marvel did what Star Wars did with interconnected media when it came to the MCU. But I feel like that's what they're trying to do now, right? That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason they decided to basket all of the expanded universe into Legends, so that the new extended universe would be canon. They had a whole bunch of books and comics, and they were like, well, we want to release books and comics that are canon. So now we have to take all of these and make them Legends.
Yeah, I mean that's literally the reason. But yeah, it's estimated as being well north of 50 billion at this point in time, which makes sense.
Do you guys think Rogue One Andor was an anomaly in approaching Star Wars storytelling?
Honestly, no. If you read the books, it was a miracle that we got something like that for the mainstream, to actually be put on a platform. But that's the beauty of a streaming platform, and I think that's one thing that I feel like we miss. Is that the purpose of streaming is that it is always there. It is always available. And so the goal is to have a variety of options, because you're not trying to put butts in seats for a specific period of time. You're trying to keep people subscribed to the service. And so it's ideal to reach out to as many different types of people as possible, right? Because you don't have limited real estate to have people physically there. You know what I mean? And so that's why we got something like this made, and hopefully the critical acclaim leads to them taking other things just as seriously. But I mean, we'll have to see how the because Bob Iger retired, and we have
Lin-Manuel Brennan. Oh, sorry, that's silly Lucasfilm. And we have another Bob.
No, it's Josh. I guess he's
Josh wouldn't do.
Josh D'Amaro. So we'll have to see what happens. So Bob Iger got replaced by Bob Chapek, and Bob Chapek greenlit a lot of things. Mostly because he wanted the streaming service to become successful, right? Which made a lot of sense. And then COVID happened, and then they're rushing to make it big and popular, which they kind of succeeded. It's like it was literally the second streaming service to become profitable, which it took Netflix a really, really long time to do that, and all of the other streaming services out there are still not profitable. They still lose money all of the time. That's why they're usually attached to different companies. Anyways, Bob Iger is one that started killing off expansion properties. And so we'll have to see what Josh D'Amaro is willing to do and how he thinks about things.
I also think that Star Wars, I think the anomalies that come out of Star Wars are the shows that are actually bad. Those are the anomalies to me, because the nature of Lucasfilm storytelling is one of a diverse sea of themes and concepts and ideas, whereas Marvel is always trying to tell a story based in this theme around these superheroes, threats, and what have you, stakes. Sometimes we have something as dynamic with characters and interpersonal relationships as Andor, and then we have a second season that's a little bit more large sweeping with the stakes, and then we have Young Jedi Adventures, and it's just about some Springtime of Youth stuff. And then we have Rebels is just another story. Like, Star Wars is generational, but it's also very, very much a smorgasbord of different stories, and so it's tough to say what is an anomaly.
Yeah. So Bob Iger would have stood in the way of or content being made. I mean, I just point.
Content?
Okay, probably. Yeah. I mean, it's what he stated when he returned. When he returned as the CEO and the shareholders meeting, is he was like, "We're gonna do less stuff," and he was trying to kind of just slim down what they were producing and putting out on Disney Plus.
I also think that it was during Bob Iger's reign that Kathleen Kennedy said that they were developing an Old Republic thing.
I mean, yeah. So there's two Bob Iger reigns, though. You know what I mean? Because Bob Iger is the person who George Lucas approached and said, wanted to sell it to him. And then when COVID hit, Bob Iger was like, "Deuces, I'm out. I don't want this on my record." And then he left, and then Bob Chapek stepped up. But then we had all this fake culture war BS happen, and that was affecting stuff. And then he came back.
Do you guys think
I feel like we're moving past a lot of that. I mean, I think people are laughing at those people a lot more, and so we can actually get back to telling stories. That's what I'm hoping.
Think we will get to see the remaining 2 stories originally planned for Obi-Wan? Force Ghost training with Qui-Gon, and the third is unknown still, but there were 3 steps to become Ben. I honestly don't know if there is a story there, to be honest. Because you could say Force Ghost training with Qui-Gon, but it's just like a Sith story. What are we trying? What's the message behind it? What is the story beat we're trying to hit, other than showing how Obi-Wan learns?
My kind of hot take is that they jumped the shark, so to speak. Listen, I would have loved it if the Obi-Wan show was kind of a take on the Kenobi book, where it is small, it is contained, it is Obi-Wan wanting to step in and help people, and understanding that when he gets involved and he wants to help and stand up and live as a Jedi, that has consequences that could get him outed and all this stuff. I think we should have built up to a story of him confronting Vader.
Yes.
And I feel like since that came first, I feel like that gives us less room to grow.
Yeah, when the Obi-Wan show was originally announced, I was all for exploring 19 years of story. But like you said, we went straight into this high stakes conflict with Vader and Leia and the Inquisitors, and it felt like, as you said, they jumped the shark and I feel like we could have had 2 seasons of his life on Tatooine and a central conflict that he was trying to resolve in the first season. Second season, he gets a hint of the Inquisitors hunting, and they've come to Tatooine, and now he's got to deal with that. And then a third season where, while he's training with Qui-Gon, he gets interrupted by the Inquisitors and by Leia being kidnapped and stuff like that. I don't necessarily dislike what they did, but what they did hamstrung the potential for more story. And it tracks with my already kind of existing desire for the Phantom Menace to have been a show. and Attack of the Clones to be episode 1. Then the Clone Wars be episode 2.
Yeah, so I know we were talking about like the Marvel comparison earlier, and I think I feel kind of similar where Marvel has all these separate properties that people liked, and then they were able to merge and have different people come in. The problem with Star Wars is everyone has been wanting to see kind of the same stuff over and over again, or start with just the same characters. So if you ask me, yes, there could be compelling Obi-Wan stories still left to tell. I'm not saying that at all, but I feel like Star Wars needs more separate stories. It needs to build up more, different timelines with different casts of characters, and once you build those up, that's when you can start to get crossovers and stuff like that. But they have to actually build those and have faith in them to continue. I think the High Republic was a great step in the way that they put faith in all of the books and in all of the comics. And with like its popularity, if we start getting more media with that, then you'd have the fans of each of those individual properties, hyped up and ready to go. But that's where Marvel has that benefit of having had all of these separate brands buildings in their own silos for years.
To meet the requirements that will allow him to become a Force ghost, an inner journey perhaps? What do you think could have been that third journey? First is the show, surrender to the cosmic force. Second, learn to let go to become a Force ghost and prepare to basically die. And third, I just think we got that in the Clone Wars. I ultimately think that Obi-Wan's journey to learn the interesting parts of exploring a story with Obi-Wan learning to become a Force ghost is his conversations with Qui-Gon. But then, like, what story we're trying to tell then?
Listen, I maintain the conversation, him actually learning from Qui-Gon would need to be the final story.
Right. But we can't have we can't have that story be the story because it's just them talking.
Yeah. And that again makes me come back to man, we did this in the wrong order. Because like the Kenobi book, he's constantly reaching out to Qui-Gon, and he never hears Qui-Gon's voice back. It would be so cool if after a full season of him not ever hearing from Qui-Gon, we go into like this where he actually does see him, and then
and in the comics,
also where the Kenobi series ends, I already see how he becomes Old Ben. The journey to Old Ben is literally the most boring portion of his life. I feel like that's the least apt for storytelling. But what were you gonna say, Pat?
No, I was just saying, and in the comics it shows how like his everyday life was, it's as boring as someone trying to live life as a laborer and being a normal person, but he's also on a sacred mission to protect Luke. Right? And so that involves, as Luke grows up, becomes more rebellious and becomes more outgoing, and he's like running into problems with Hutt gangsters and stuff and Tusken Raiders, and Obi-Wan has to deal with all of that stuff in secrets and keep from revealing himself. And so those are all interesting stories, but like,
true. I feel like a more interesting story would be a young Luke story, and it's Luke and he's being a kid. Maybe you aim it at the same audience as a Skeleton Crew, and he's going on adventures with his friends, but he's this Force sensitive kid, and who knows, maybe there's a conspiracy going on, maybe there's an uprising with the Tuskens. Maybe this kid gives them the same vibes as the guy who came and massacred their people years ago. And you'll have certain situations where he's in over his head, and then something just works out for him. And maybe that was either him using the Force, or maybe that was Obi-Wan stepping in. But I just feel like at this point I don't know a lot Obi-Wan.
May have dozed off when you answered before. But is the Bandogora canon? The Bandogora?
No,
Are you
not to my
talking about
knowledge.
the bounty hunter Bandogora?
Yeah, bounty hunter gang / cultish thing.
Well, Bandogora is in the Acolyte visual guide.
Interesting.
So Bandogora is canon. I don't know if...
In what sense? Yeah.
Yeah, in the sense that... Because in Legends, he's a bounty hunter.
Yeah,
just remember
KG,
seeing
you're
it.
right. Biggest action Luke saw was bullying Womprats in his T16. Yeah, but he was learning how to race. He was being an impetuous kid. That's why I said it would be like a show for kids. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it would be something for adults. Like, make it for the same audience as maybe even Young Jedi Adventures. You know, and you can have him learning how to be a good person, and that's why he is a good person when he grows up. I'd rather see Obi-Wan as a Force ghost in Ahsoka season 2. That'd be interesting. I mean, I want to see that as well. Honestly, I feel like that. Okay, never mind. I know it sounds like I'm an Anakin hater, and I'm really not. I'm really not. I just feel like that would be better for Ahsoka. I feel like Obi-Wan's story is mostly finished on screen. Yeah, but like the same with Anakin's as well, you know? So that's the other thing, is when people try to make those stories, they often feel like they're stepping on George Lucas's toes. Hey! So I stand corrected.
It says Luntobetha, her face concealed by an old Bandagora rebreather mask. So I suppose in this regard they are canon, but I don't think there's I don't think there's any expanded kind of explanation for the Bandogora.
You know, I one thing that is common is there are things that appeared in Legends that will sometimes appear in canon, but because they're based off of the same source, meaning like there's weird creature designs and stuff like that George Lucas had and just never used.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll have someone see that and then put that in something in Legends, and then you'll have someone else see that same exact thing and then put it in canon, you know? I mean, the Jedi Vectors were the original clone ships that never got used. The Sith Archivist from the Red Dawn, Crimson Dawn, Crimson Rising, Crimson Tide. But that was the original. That was originally going to be the villain of the Phantom Menace. That design that she was based off of.
Anytime anyone suggests a Vader show, I immediately roll my eyes. 51 viewers. Hold on. 51 viewers and only 12 likes. What's going on, guys? Come on.
Yeah, deploy the likes. You know, listen. We can. There's just I don't know. I do think we could tell a Vader story, but I just think it needs to be isolated and needs to not be about his struggle. And I just think Vader needs to be like a specter. He's got to be like you could just do Alien, but have Vader be the monster that the people are trying to escape.
But then you have the people that complain that the Vader only has 3 minutes of actual runtime. screen time.
Yeah, but he's only ever had that much, and that's the whole purpose. So there's no Bandagora gang like in Mall Lockdown. Gotcha. Man,
Bandagora gang, but weren't the Bandagora like a dark side cult?
I thought of them as more of a. I don't. It's been a long time since I read Mall Lockdown, mostly because I didn't really like the book. Sorry, the shout out to Joe Schreiber. I think that was his only Star Wars book, and I'm kind of happy about that. But anyways, I kind of thought of them as a more of a bounty hunter based cult, similar to like the bounty hunter group that we see in the Jedi Fallen Order series, but like with a kind of a religious base to it. Yeah, cult/gang led by Dooku's ex-apprentice, the female ex-apprentice that is like, I mean, she's not canon, but she is alluded to in the lightsaber book, which is really interesting. Honestly, I think what we need to get is more about the world between worlds, Force Nexus, underworld lore. Vader trying to open a portal on Mustafar. We need to explore that lore to get more into the episode 10 through 13 era. I can never remember her name. Yeah, I don't remember it either. I feel like I can't remember if they even gave her a name.
Dooku's ex-apprentice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for more Force lore, but I also kind of don't want it over-explained. But I do want my theories about the world between worlds and its connection as basically just being the pathway between the.
But I feel like what we've
cosmic
been,
and living force.
What we've been given thus far, pretty much. You're only
what
missing.
Up, Malik?
You're only missing like a Force priestess going like, oh yeah, you're right. But I think what we have confirms that as much as it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe her name was Lululemon. That would be a great name, though. Lululemon.
Give me one of those Vader dark stories like the George Mann books. Actually, not just Vader, just all Sith Lords, and it's just like little bits of that story.
What are your theories about World Between Worlds, Choco? You might as well expand upon it just a little bit as we begin to kind of wrap up the show.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's I mean, it is the even the Force itself. It is the pathway to the cosmic force, and so whenever you are, and even a slower version of this would be hyperspace, but it's as you are moving. I have to put it into like a more concise thought bubble in order to get it out. See, whenever you guys are getting me on here, this is after a day of very mentally strenuous work. My job takes a lot of brain, and so.
But okay.
Sometimes I can't talk right when I get on here.
But your theorem matches what was in the Jedi texts. It's it's called the Chain Worlds theorem. And correct me if I'm wrong. The world between worlds is a confluence of everything that happens that's connected through the cosmic force, which is also what allows it to act as hyperspace. So when you go into hyperspace, you are in that confluence. That's why the Loth wolves that can travel through the world between worlds. I believe when they go under, someone describes it as traveling through hyperspace. One of the ghost group.
Yeah, and that's why the and then the lower iteration of that would of course be our famous space whales. I keep wanting to say narwhals, but I know that's not it. Purgle. Yeah. So if the cosmic force is all time existing at once, right? It's outside of the stream of time. Then you have the regular stream of time. The closer you get towards the center of that, it would be almost like the faster your movement would be, and so that's kind of what hyperspace would be. It was dropping into this lower dimension that allows you to connect to these two places faster than you would normally be able to do through space-time, which is how they were able to pass the speed of light, right? But then as you can get even lower than that, that'd be kind of like the actual portals in the world between world, and catching Ahsoka in the world between worlds is basically like stopping her from becoming one with the Force, because that's like her going to pass into the cosmic force, but being on the verge and being able to wake up so she can come back. There's a lot more to this, and I need to put it all together. I'm very sorry, but my brain feels hot.
Pathos, we already talked about that, the fan film with Mace. The short of it being, I don't see a timeline where Mace comes back and does not destroy Sidious and Vader. So that's where my criticisms come in. But you know what?
It's a hot take that that Vader is overrated as a duelist, and that most of the Jedi are dead by the time he shows up, and so he's the best de facto. But I don't think he ever actually earned that title. And people who would be weaker than him, like Obi-Wan, can school him pretty well, because he could very easily be baited.
Soggy Quiver, if you could make a fan film, what would it be? My answers have kind of shifted and varied throughout the years, but I think the one fan film that I would make that's most interesting to me, that I want them to actually make, is The Path with Quinlan Vos. I want to know, like, how intrepid is this movement? How widespread is it? Like, what are the struggles that they have to go through? Like, because I can imagine a lot of conflict between those that are in favor of the path and those who are against the path, and the amount of people that they would lose in setting this up. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like the Force equivalent of Andor, right? Where we're going through the motions and setting up the foundations of what would be an underground network to be what the Rebel Foundation would be with Andor and Mon Mothma, where we're dealing with survivors and they want to establish an underground network for Force users. And it is through that vehicle that I would use to establish Corran Horn and Carvaster, and anybody who wouldn't necessarily fit neatly into this canon continuity, but would give them a chance to exist in the continuity through the path. And then, the Civil War happens, and then, the Empire crumbles, and so all those people that were once in the path can now roam freely during this post-return era, and so they have the freedom to kind of go off and be who they are and what they will become. Mara Jade could be in the path, not necessarily the hand of or the sword of the Emperor, but you kind of create a pseudo sandbox for them to be in while things are happening, and they can reemerge.
honestly, like mine wouldn't involve Jedi or really. It would. If I could make a fan film, there's a character who. I want to have one of my favorite Star Wars books that doesn't get a lot of love was Allegiance, which was about this group of stormtroopers who actually ended up defecting, right? Because the Empire at large is terrible and super fascist, and like they joined thinking that it was good, but then when like basically you have your local garrison where these people stand up to become troopers in their area, and then you have the centralized empire that would come around and tell people to do things. I was trying to get them to execute people and stuff, and they're like, no. They fought with the ISB. They accidentally killed the leader, and then went on the run and was trying to do good deeds as stormtroopers. And I feel like a story somewhat like not that exact story, but I think somewhere in the Andor timeline, there's a fascinating story about people who were serving when the Empire took over and saw things turning sour and are like, this is a bridge too far. Like, we can't keep going down this path. And I want, I want those people's stories. I want, their family is like, oh, but if you defect, then that's going to look badly upon all of us, and we might all be in danger. And they're like, but is it better to be in danger and still have your soul? Like, how do we do? Like, I feel like there's something in there that would be a really, really good story.
Also, a special shout out to Spooky's girlfriend, Serena.
Hey, Serena!
Happy birthday. We hope you have a wonderful birthday and get everything that you want. Happy birthday.
Woo! Also, I love the name Serena. It's a beautiful name. You're awesome. We appreciate you.
Let's see. Vader got his cheeks clapped by Kira Kinfila. That's right. Listen, anybody that's worth their salt, they got their hits in on Vader, like Sierra Junda included.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of so the name Serena is like Sarina is like in my head, and I'm trying to think of where from. Is that the girl lion on Lion King 2?
Nala?
Lion King 2.
Oh.
There was Kovu, and I want to say Sarina, but I could be wrong.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, those are the stories. There's a fan film and probably a canon show that I would want them to explore. The path is ripe for storytelling, to be honest. They already established it. They did Tales of the Underworld with Asajj, and they said, oh, Quinlan, he's helping out with the path. And then Obi-Wan show is like, oh, Quinlan was here. Them's the foundations for a Quinlan Voss show about the path. That'd be so funny too, if like Quinlan was actually like in on it with what's his face's character from Obi-Wan. It's like, yeah, just act like you're a Force sensitive and send him off to me.
Oh. No, she's a girl I met working at Dollar Tree. Hey, Spooky got that spooky riz,
He got that dollary-do riz.
Wolf of Wall Street with Ked Pinchaclop. I do not want to see Ked Pinchaclop doing cocaine or Quaaludes. I feel like that would ruin my life.
Or sharing a screen with any scantily clad Twi'lek named Vargo Asabi. All right, but that'll do it for this week's Dyad in the Force. Short little episode to hang out with y'all before we take next week off to attend Rebel Scum Con. Be sure to stay tuned for our we're going to record our panel and share it with you guys, but and then do like some vlogging here and there, but we'll reconvene on the 14th. We'll do some Rebel Scum Con recaps and stuff like that. And then on the 21st we will be doing a legacy review and discussion for the book Legacy.
Heck yeah. Also, to Malik, I changed my mind on the Cat Pincher Club, but only if it's literally a faithful recreation of the Wolf of Wall Street. Just with the Cat Pincher Club.
And also, if you guys haven't already, click on the pinned comment on the YouTube chat to fill out the survey, because we'll also be doing the Force feud
Please,
with other creators.
The more rational answers, the better.
Let's see here, and that should be it. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. I will be participating in our first episode, One Can Hope, Galactic Tales, Daggerheart, Starheart actual play with everything GM. So I'll post a link in the community tab for YouTube. So come hang out. This will be our first actual episode where we're already done with all of the Session 0 stuff. So that'll be our first episode, and we'll get started with the campaign. So come hang out. We've already collaborated with them on our Session 0, and you can find that in our live tab. So go and actually, you know what? Let me give you a link to the channel, and you guys can subscribe and tune in tomorrow when we go live at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Yep. Definitely do that. Also, I just looked up the casting, Samara Weaving. I think that's a great casting. I mean, it looks great already. I've never seen her in anything. Is she related to Hugo Weaving? Maybe? Daughter? I don't know.
Maybe. I just remember the name Samara from
Mass Effect?
Well, that, and I believe there wasn't she. Didn't she play the child in Silent Hill?
That I couldn't tell you.
Samara Weaving, Silent Hill. Who was that?
All right. So.
He's like, all right, let's go.
Well, I was like, I don't want to start a whole new conversation because
she's Australian. Okay. All right, thank you guys so much.
But we appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Don't forget to like this stream before you head out, and have a wonderful weekend. That's it. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are. Hold on.
We're all
That's
good to go. Goodbye.
On to the next one.
For Light and for Life.
We are all Rebel Scum Con.
Ooh. And may Emma Frost be with you. Always. Jubilee too.
See you guys again.